Okay, are we up? I think. Sashiburi, everybody. Sashiburi. 3 days. Look at that. It's the end of the world. I'm getting so lazy. Lazy. Yes, it's embossing. Everybody's figured that out. Okay, good morning. Welcome back. Like, where was I? I have to apologize about the mix-up on understanding what day it was. What did I do? 3 or 4 days ago, I posted, I can't do it tomorrow morning. The next day will be the day off, Tuesday, and then I'll be back on Wednesday. Of course, I didn't even understand what day it was, so I missed an extra day there. I'm sorry. Today, what we're doing today. I know those of you who've been watching the blog, I posted a couple of days on the blog about this print. It's one of the designs from Koitsu, from the Doi Hanga company. And we got the blocks from them. It must have been nearly a year ago now, I guess. We got the blocks from them. And we really weren't sure if we'd be able to make this print, but Ayumi-san gave it a try. We got a year ago or so. And we had a few failures first, but she kept at it and we kept at it, and she did a really good job. So what happened was she did an edition of it, which we put into our shop. And Ayumi-san's print, we got one left here. We keep one as a sample always. This is Ayumi-san's version that she did. This is the one we kept as a sample. And then it's now, I guess, about 6 weeks or 2 months ago or so, I was chatting with young Yamamoto-san. He's the boy who's been running our Great Waves. And he's really been doing that, but we have run into a bit of a problem in that he can't do it all the time. He doesn't want to work as a permanent, just Great Wave printer. And I get that. I understand that. I wouldn't want to do that. We wouldn't ask anybody to do that. It's the kind of work you should rotate among your printing team. But he's the only guy in the printing team at the moment who's capable of doing the Great Waves. So we had to cut. So about a month ago or so, we had to take him off the Great Wave and put him on something else. And we asked him to give this a try. And he'd never done any Shin Hanga work before. He'd only done ukiyo-e. He used to work for the Adachi company years and years ago. So he decided to give it a go. And again, the same thing as Ayumi-san. We did a test run first, which was okay, not saleable, but gave a chance to get used to what it was all about. We talked about what to do, what to change it, and then we gave him some paper and gave him the go-ahead to go at it. And he came back with about 40 copies of this one, and it was a few days ago. So I put them on the Facebook page, I think, and I put them on our blog. And we are back in the running now. We have a new Shin Hanga printer. Well, he's not totally capable yet, but as a step one, he's done okay. And the prints are very much the same, and they're very much different. I don't know. This was in our catalog, and this is going in our catalog. We're proud of it. It's okay. It's a very good job. But they are different in some really inherent ways. I know the way these two people put pigment on paper, the way they rub with the Baron, when you look at it down at a really detailed level, everything is different. It's not better or worse. It's a question of style, personality. You know? Ayumi-san has gone with a bit higher level of paste, a bit more pigment on the block, and a bit less pressure in consequence. It's a measure for character. She's a young woman. She's not muscular at all. And she's made the right combination that's necessary to get the particular result. Yamamoto-san, he's done it a bit differently. He's kept the amount of pigment and paste on the block a little lower, and he's used a much more physical pressure to impress it into the paper. And you can tell that by when you look down in really small details. So it's probably not going to show on the camera, so just for the moment, just take my word for it, whatever. His more pressure on the block and less pigment will give you, it'll give you more wood grain. If you're trying to show wood grain, that's one way to do it. You cut back on your pigment and you use high pressure. And we're going to ask him to perhaps modulate this bit because he's used a bit too much pressure. But you can see when you get really right down to it with my lens, you can see all the little lines and pores of the wood that show up here. And for my taste, I really would rather not see that. When you sit there looking at the print, you're perhaps not going to notice it. But if you put it under a raking light sideways, actually all the tiny pores of the wood are actually visible here. That's fine, it's a woodblock print, but I'd really rather that wasn't there. And it's not there with Ayumi-san's version. The paper is smoother and flatter. But as I said, that's more of a matter of taste than it is of anything else. People who look at the print will enjoy it as it is without even seeing that detail, perhaps. Anyway, my job today, this morning, now that these have been approved for going into our catalogue, this is the sample I'm keeping for each one, I have to now put the embossing up. We've already, Cameron put it up on the website, and already there are orders coming in. So we need to get this thing up and running now. And what we've got here, we've talked about these before. This is a polymer plate. It's a piece cut from a large polymer plate. It's got the characters built into it. And what we've done, this is a new original embossing that hasn't existed before. We've done a combination. Mokuhankan is making these prints and producing them. So there it is, Asakusa Mokuhankan. On the left-hand side, it says Doi Hangaten. These blocks are owned by the Doi company, and they really sort of own the rights to use them. Although the copyright in this doesn't exist. Koitsu has been dead for longer than the Japanese copyright expiration term. So there's no copyright here, but it's a question of block ownership. So anyway, Asakusa Mokuhankan is us, Doi Hangaten is the people who own these blocks. I'll close up in a minute. And then below this is something very, very interesting. It says Hori Harada. This is carver Harada. And of course, this stuff was carved, these blocks were carved. The original set was in Showa 11. What's Showa 11? I'm Showa 26, which was 1951. So Showa 11 is 15 years earlier than that. So that puts it at 1936, I guess. So that's when this block set was carved, 1936. And it may or may not have been carved by Harada. We don't know. What Harada's name is on here for is because after the war, when the block set was being refurbished and perhaps some of the old blocks being replaced, Harada was the carver. So it's his name that goes on it now. And then next to this we have Suri printer, and now it's going to say Yamamoto. The previous group we made said Ohashi, which was Ayumi-san's name at that time. There's a bit of a twist in it, in that it says carver Harada, but there really should be two names on there, because we talked about this before. When Ayumi-san was making this print a year and a half ago, one of the blocks turned out to be split beyond use. It was the block for the sky, and it was actually physically split, and there was a big gap in it, and it just wouldn't work. We tried soaking it in water to close it up. It was too much split, and it wouldn't go. So what we had to do was recut one block, and it was the block that did the sky and the base tone of the water. We got a piece of wood from our stock, threw it at the bench here, transferred the key block to it, and I carved it. So these prints now are made with a bit of a mixed block set, in that it's the original blocks from Doi Hangaten, carved by Harada, plus one block from Mokuhankan, carved by David Bull. And it gets better in that, again, I can repeat these stories too many times. The bench I'm using here these days is the old bench we received from Harada-san's son. So it's a bizarre twist. The new block I carved for this set was carved on the same bench that the original block set was carved on. It doesn't show in the print, but it makes a really cool story. So anyway, I can't sit here talking all day. I have got to get going. Ayumi-san didn't use a pseudonym. She got married. In her earlier prints with us, it's Ayumi Miyashita Ayumi, her maiden name. Then she married a local policeman, and his name was Ohashi. So the recent prints that she did for us, the more recent ones, have Ohashi, but it's the same person. Okay, I got to get going on this. Is it visible if I get up closer here? Is that thing going to be visible? Try and move it around till I get a. There we are. It's a polymer plate. It's actually a piece of plastic. We don't bother trying to carve these. It's just too much trouble. We have too many combinations, carving all the printers' names and all the carvers' names. So we just have them done up in polymer plates. They're called jushiban in Japanese. It's about maybe a 0.4 of a millimeter high. And we're going to use it with no pigment, but it needs to be used with moist paper. And what I would prefer to do is, if Yamamoto-kun had done this by himself, just while he was still printing, if he'd printed it as part of the process. But he always begs off. He and Kubota-san, they do not want to do this. So what I've got is I've got a piece of moist cloth here over on the left-hand side of my bench. I'm slightly moistening the paper. Put it into a rough registration mark here on the paper on the table, and away we go. That is not a good Baron for this job. It's too soft. I'm gonna have to go and change it. Can you see it? No, it's not going to be visible, is it? I'll try and find a spot where it might be visible. Give me a second to try and find it. Can you see it there? Over on the margin. There's an embossing now. There you go. He doesn't like to do it because it's finicky, you get in the wrong place, or a little bit too much pressure, too light pressure, and the print gets spoiled. And also, he's also a shokunin, he's a craftsman. And he and Kubota-san both, they say the same thing. Oh, it's okay, we don't need our names, we don't want our names, it's okay, don't bother, don't bother, don't bother. And half of it they're being false modesty, and half of it they're being true. I know in the old days, shokunin, the craftsmen, didn't get their names on this stuff. They don't care. Their view is that it's the artist whose name should be on there, and not the craftsman. But having said that, they do actually understand this, that it's cool, and they are happy with their name being on there, but they're not allowed to say so. It's a bit of, like I said, false modesty, whatever. Partly Japanese character, partly their own character. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. He's done a nice job with this, you know. Again, it's the modesty thing. He was obviously clearly really proud of this. It's his first major Shin Hanga print. It's a totally different way of printing from ukiyo-e, you know? And he had no chance to do that when he was working for Adachi. But here with us, he's got a chance to do lots of different kinds of work, and he's done a very, very nice job. The background tone behind that village there, getting the mist. We don't print mist. Mist is leftover paper. You have to bring the blue up just far enough, but not too far. The same thing here, the gradation on that mountain. We don't print the white mist. It's what's left over when you print other stuff around it. There's no camellia oil here. The blue cloth here just says a bit moist. It's all. It's just a rag with a bit of water on top of it. This is the usual. Maybe you're confused because usually I keep my Baron on a pad with camellia oil. That's not what we're doing here today. This is just simply a rag with some water on it. The Baron is separate. Yeah, what I'm doing, I'll just try and do it here for just a second. I'm just putting it on the back. I'm just moistening it just a touch like that. Somebody's asking, would it be easier to get a stamp than to use the polymer plates? Well, I mean, this is kind of a stamp. I'm not sure what you're asking. You know, it's a custom to do these things in embossing rather than actually with printed ink. Although some of the ones in the older days were done. They were actually printed that way with a little bit of ink. They would have rolled ink on this thing and printed it that way. We like doing it with embossing. We don't want it to interfere too much with the design. Embossed by David Bowie, yeah, like, right, that's important. Get 55 credits, like the end of a movie. You need a roll of credits. There's lots more that could go on here, you know, for the people who made the paper. When I did my poet series, I did that. I put the paper maker's name on each sheet, you know. There's a lot more credits that could go on here. Knife blades produced by. Baron skin produced by. How much is reasonable and how much is not reasonable. Yeah, that's a question. Does the embossing not fade with time? That's an interesting idea, and it doesn't. You know, we've got prints in our shop here. I think the oldest one we've got at the moment in the shop that we sell is somewhere around 1820 or whatever, 1830, I forget exactly, somewhere around there, about almost exactly 200 years ago. And it's made of this same kind of paper, a nice thick, rich hosho. And a lot of those older prints, they have embossing on them. They didn't put the names on. The embossing would be part of the design. Maybe, for example, a kimono pattern embossed on some part of the kimono. And 200 years have passed, and it's still there. Actually, what I'm going to do, excuse me for a minute, this is really, it's not a good baron, it's a bit too strong. I need one a bit, that's going to do a bit better. I've got to wait another one. I'm going to change this one, excuse me. Back in 1 minute. Now we have barons of many, many different strengths, strong ones, weak ones, smaller ones, larger ones. That was just a bit, it wasn't getting into the fine cuts here. Not sure this was a whole lot better. That's okay. Yes. I can't find the spot with the light reflecting in it. On the webpage where we've got this print up on the catalog, there's a close-up of this. Talking about a notary stamp, yes and no. That's a different animal. A notary stamp works in a different way. A notary stamp, with those embossing handles you push down, it's got a positive and a negative. And what it does is it pulls the paper up and pushes it from the back, and you get a severe distortion in the paper. That's really important for legal stuff, that it's able, the paper is torn and the paper is actually damaged, so that thing can't be erased or taken away or changed in any way. This is different. This one, the back of the paper is flat here. And the front of the paper, some parts have been squeezed down and some parts are left alone. So this is quite different from a notary stamp. I guess somebody's asking if we steamed the paper or something. I guess I don't really know what to say. To some extent, it could perhaps be relaxed if you really tried to get rid of this embossing. I'm not sure. Yeah, so a steam jet, maybe the paper would swell up a bit. I don't think it would completely disappear, but it might get looser. I don't know. All I know is that in all my experience with both new prints and old prints, embossing stays totally as it is. Sometimes people ask us, when we do embossing, like on our famous crane design, the crane print, we do that as part of the printing process, and the paper is moist, so it's staying in the stack, and then it gets flat and pressed to dry. And people always ask, does the embossing get flattened when you're drying the prints in the stack? And no, it doesn't change at all. There's not enough specific tight pressure on any given point of the paper. It's not a problem. Not too many here. I think we got 43 good prints. We gave him a batch of 50 sheets, I guess, and we got 43 good ones out of it. This is not going to take me an hour and a half here to do. So what I'm going to do is I've got my carving work, of course. It's sitting here standing by. So I'll just get this done ready so we can send it to our Ome people for packing. We've got orders for this already. They have to get out of here. So I'll finish this job here this morning in a few minutes, and then we're going to switch over to carving. The Patreon Chibi prints. Question, what is this? Dave, were you able to get downstairs at all? Downstairs? Where's downstairs? I don't know anything about downstairs. No, I haven't done anything downstairs the last couple of days. Actually, Kawai-san did. Kawai-san was down there, what day is today? He was down there Monday afternoon, I think. Monday we had a really light day, actually. It was really good. And Kawai-san got downstairs, and we started working on the entranceway down there. The original entranceway was painted some funny blue, and it's really in a deep paint. We tried to rip it off with paint stripper, and something it just wouldn't do it. It bubbled, but it wouldn't pull off. So we're just painting over it. So that's what he did on Monday. He painted all the door frames and the door downstairs. We might get a chance to install the door today. This is the inner front door, not the shutter. Behind the shutter, there's an actual real door. And then my job today, if I get a chance, we've got 3 staff girls here working on the print parties today. So the girls are going to take care of most of the print parties. And theoretically, if there's not too many guests, I'll be able to get downstairs. And my job is to hang the first of what are going to be a number of banners downstairs at the entranceway. When people walk along the street, when the shutter is up, when people walk along the street, the shutter is up, and our shop has a sort of a sunken, a set-back entrance. So from the street to the door is about 2.5, nearly 3 meters. So there's an outside area that's not in our shop, but it's in our property. And it's totally wide open. There's the 2 big blank walls, and we're going to hang banners. There's no reason to keep it secret. I've got one printed already. It's a 2.5 meter high image of one of Jed's prints. And we have to figure out a way to hang that. And we're going to rotate. We're going to change the banners as time goes by. No, not the Nobori type flag. Something much, much bigger. This is a couple of meters wide and 2.5 meters high. This is a giant thing. It's like another version of the big Baron we have up top, except this one is one of the print designs. So we're going to put it with clips and springs and stretch it across the wall. And if I get a chance today, that's my job today, to try and figure out how to mount that. That's the plan, but of course there are going to be people coming by. And, The edge is a bit sharp. It's catching a mark on here on the outside. When is the wedding? What's the reference I'm missing here? When is the wedding? Ah, the people who were visiting to get married, that's done actually. That was done a few weeks ago. And the couple, they've been here in and out on the Twitch stream. You mean the wedding that we were being witnesses to, me and Cameron? It was a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. No, the couple from America who got married here, that was a couple of weeks ago. We went over there, had a nice day. We didn't spend the day with them, we spent the afternoon with them. And there's sometimes, one of them sometimes on the stream. He might be here today. You know. Yeah, this is nice. The Emperor's granddaughter's wedding here, there must be stories there. None of us know what's happening, but there must be some backstory. Announce a wedding and then cancel it. Who knows what the backstory to that one is? No idea. Where are these all going to go, and where are they going to end up? How long will they last? A couple of 100 years from now, someone's going to look at this thing, you know. We're really not able to make very many of these things. You know, there's 43 in this batch, and then, you know, when it comes around again, we'll get him to make some more bit by bit. But we're not churning these out in such dramatic quantities. So there aren't going to be all that many of them out in the world. the researchers 50 years from now, 100 years from now, into this, how did these stamps get put on, who made these, The early days of the Shinhanga prints, they really didn't document very well. The Watanabe Company, Doi Company, they put some of these stamps and seals on, but they really weren't all that careful with it sometimes. There's some, people who do the research and study these, try and look at block differences and figure out who printed and who carved what. And the seals are sometimes accurate and sometimes not so accurate. It seems sometimes the publishing companies, they'd get to this stage of the job and they'd look around in their drawers. Where's my seal? The one that matches Harada Yamamoto or whatever. And they couldn't find it, so they just grab something else and slap it on. It really wasn't something they felt was an important, legal type document, whatever. It was just decoration and whatever it should be there. So there's sometimes some anomalies when you look at the old prints that I don't think that's the right name, because clearly they weren't all that careful with it. He's done a good job too in keeping the variability, keeping the variations to a real minimum. For us, the print in any given batch should be perfectly, absolutely, accurately the same. In this one, it's really, really difficult, especially because he doesn't have so much experience. And if you look perhaps to earlier ones or later ones, there's a bit wider mist here than there is in that one. He's very close. They're not, the way the sea comes up, that's pretty good. How far down that comes, that's pretty good. How far down the sky gradation comes, he's pretty good with this, They're not mathematically exact, but my God, to have a guy that can get to this level and do this, I'm very, very, very happy. We've got about 10 left here, so then we'll be on to our carving work. What's the bigger problem with wanting to hire more printers? Lack of availability or lack of space? No, they're not out there. We've got space upstairs. We've got room for 4, and we'd knock out the wall and make the room bigger if we had more printers. They're just not out there. They're not out there. Anybody in town who's competent now is busy with work, doing pop culture reproductions. Anybody who's half competent now is just busy, morning till night, morning till night. It's a flood of work, a ton of work. Much of it coming now from the pop culture boom that's happening here, the pop culture ukiyo-e boom. Another part of it just from the general interest. Ukiyo-e is back in favor again. There's tourists flooding the place. The yen-dollar rate is reasonable, so people want woodblock prints. So it's back on the top burner after sleeping for a lot of years, after nearly collapsing. Traditional woodblock printmaking here in Japan now is back on fire. The problem being the apprentice system had decayed and there's almost no young people available to do the work. So you've got a combination now, the few old guys who are still staggering forward to try and finish off their careers, plus a few young people who don't really have much experience at all. And there's a gap. The whole middle of it, the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, it's totally hollowed out. Because for decades now, there's been so little work available, it wasn't a viable career for people, so there was no progression ladder. So it's totally hollowed out. When I came here in the late 70s and 80s, there were dozens and dozens of men in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They're all gone. They're all dead. Or just hanging on at the top of their career. You can't go 30 years without having new apprentices and then all of a sudden try and bring the thing back to life. You know? Bandwagoning. I don't know. Is there a Japanese term for that? I actually don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe you could Google it or try and find it. I don't know. Jump on the bandwagon. Do the same thing everybody else is doing. You know, follow the leader. Is there a Japanese term then for it? Binjin Shouho. Binjin Shouho. Okay. Piggyback marketing. Interesting. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Not something I'm familiar with. If we don't look back, we're looking forward. Being Joe the show, like getting on, Joe shot. When you jump on a train, Joe shot. Being Joe, Quantar's got it, man. Being Joe. I'll have to try and remember that. Thank you. Japanese lesson this morning here. Just a few more, then we'll make our switch to the carving. Can somebody find the link for me to this? You know, when I did the first one of these the other day to put it in the catalog, I embossed this, I scanned it, I put it in the catalog, and I took out Ayumi-san's links, and I took out the links to Ayumi-san's scans, and I put in the links to this one. So it's in our catalog, right? mokohankan.com/catalog. And I forget the number of this one. 0304.php, I think. There it is, good. So the photograph there is this one. It's not photograph, scan. It's the new Yamamoto version. I took down the one from Ayumi-san because it's slightly different. So you can't show scans of hers and send another one. So I think, if I remember, there's 3 close-ups on there. One of them is the embossing that you're seeing right now. And again, if you've got the picture there on that catalog page, it's Asakusa Mokuhankan, which is as Doi Hangaten, the people who own these blocks. It's Hori Harada, Carver Harada, Sudi Yamamoto, printed by Yamamoto. 2 sheets left. Okay, here we go. There they are. One of the last times they'll all be together. This afternoon, these will be wrapped up and sent to our Ome shipping center. And those people in the Ome center, our 2 staff ladies there, will pack them and wrap them properly in the Mokuhankan wrappings. And out they will go, one by one, over the next few months as orders come in for them. We got 43 good copies. Now we're going to keep one for a sample for our own archive here. And so 42 will be available to go out. And we're going to keep them. They're going to go with the rough mimi, the rough edge. Shinoko collectors really like that. Instead of trimming them straight, we're going to keep the rough edges on this. And they're going to go out that style. Okay, let's get some carving done. And I don't remember where we left off. What was I doing? Was it delicate work with the carving knife, or was it smashing? What was it? Let's have a look and see, because I just honestly don't remember. Oh, we're making noise. I see. Somebody remembers, do they? We were clearing. We got a basically good location here, okay? Yeah, so sorry for the ASMR people. That'll wake you up. Nah, I can't help it. This is work. I'm sorry. This isn't an official ASMR channel. This is a working channel, and a man's got to do what a man's got to do. This is also the place where the audio video sync starts to show, you know, I'm talking here, you can't see my mouth, so that synchronization doesn't matter. But once I start tapping here, the synchronization issues that Twitch has with this video start to play games. So anyway, here we go. I'll try and watch the stream, although I've got to really watch what I'm doing. So away we go. Good timing, eh? We all know who that is. It could be Suga-san already. Morning, good morning.
Good morning.
How's the rain out there?
It is raining, yes.
Should be a quiet day in the shop then, perhaps. I just started now, just tapping right now. I've been doing the embossing.
Oh,
I
nice.
embossed on Yamamoto-san's name
Oh,
on
great.
those prints. They came out so nicely, you know.
That's
So
wonderful.
I've done that and just now starting the bangings. And let's just take a double check here. Dropped frames 0. CPU usage 13.4. Live 47 minutes 59 seconds. Over to you, sir.
Okay. See what I can do to mess things up. I'm just making sure I've got nothing that'll
Yeah, checking your
interrupt
did you?
anything. Okay. Should be good to go.
Hi. I'll get this jump out of the way. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yo, shot. Just me, I'm hooked on the hook here. Yeah. Okay, where you going?
Okay. I'll get you all seasick, shaking this computer all over the way.
That couldn't be a factor, right? The angle of the computer and stuff like that. It's wired in. We're not on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right now we're not on Wi-Fi, so.
And what about the mic? Is it noisy here? Should the mic go closer? That's where it is right here.
Can you hear us all?
Yeah, but
okay?
no. But the problem is once I.
Oh.
It's up to you. Clip it over closer. Whatever.
Angle it a little bit more toward me.
We've been off for 3 days, Nate.
Right.
So this is
yeah.
the biggest gap, maybe since whatever.
Since you started.
Well, no, because I went overseas.
Oh,
didn't
that's
I?
right. Yeah.
And I really screwed up the other day, you know.
With what?
I didn't even know what day it was. It must have been. What's the deal? It was Sunday or so. I didn't remember what day it was. I said there won't be any stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I also said the day after that's our normal holiday, so I'll be back and, you know, we'll be off for 2 days. I'll be
Right.
back on Wednesday. But I was doing this on Sunday. I thought it was Monday. It was on Sunday. So the next day was Monday when I should have been streaming. But I didn't. So I didn't show up.
Got it.
They thought I was going to be there and I didn't show up. And I just
Oh, no.
didn't know what day it was. So I went later. I was opening the Twitch page and there's
Yeah.
the chat window
Where's
full of all
Dave?
these people, you know, talking to each other and having a good time without me. You know?
Yeah.
And I realized these guys, they don't need me.
They don't need
They don't need me.
This is really just a chat room for people with similar interests. You're just background hammering.
It's not background noise. I'm just getting in the way. So they don't need me at all.
Jolly Green Titan disagrees. He says, I was getting withdrawal from that cat. We were lost. It was sad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You've already seen this.
Did you lock it or leave it open? Left it open?
I locked it. Should I open it?
It doesn't really matter. Vestries is coming. The Latvian guy. He's coming to help downstairs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what
Cool.
time he's showing up.
Okay. I can go reopen it.
It's okay. I guess.
Maybe we've already talked about this. What determines your batch size? When you produce them, I'm not sure what them is because I wasn't here for the conversation.
Like we gave Yamamoto-san 50 sheets. So
Oh, yeah.
we would like as many as possible from all of our batches, of course, so that we can just throw it on the shelf and not worry about that for a while.
Yeah.
The problem just becomes balancing the making time and time of cost with how long we expect it takes to sell them. You know, it's like publishers when they're printing a book. How many do they print? You know.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to go back and reprint it,
Right.
but if you print too many, they sit on the shelf for too long. It's difficult, and we have very limited printer resources. So if he had taken 100 of these, that second 50, we asked him to do 50, but the second 50, it might be 2 years before they sell.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we want him to be doing other prints.
Yeah.
You know. So in recent time, we're making batches smaller than we would really like because it's not efficient to make small runs at all.
Yeah.
So a very complicated question, and we have no flat single answer, and it's always, always, always a problem.
But it wouldn't take quite double the amount of time to go from 50 to 100.
No.
But it would take a bit more. Like, how much extra time would you say that would be? It's not double.
Well, it's nearly double. I mean,
Nearly.
the mixing pigments. Remember, we've done the test print. He did a test printing for me, so we had his pigments ready and everything ready.
Okay.
So to make 50 and 100 is really actually almost simply double the time.
Okay.
If you're making a really small amount to make 5 or 10, this is crazy because you spend most of your time mixing pigments and getting it ready. And
Okay.
very little time printing. But the larger the number goes.
Okay, then it's a one-to-one.
Yeah, 1-to-1, exactly. So,
Okay. So all that lost time, if he had done an extra 50, it would be time he couldn't spend
making more copies is a great wave.
Great Wave, which
it sells right now.
we have a few people asking about that.
God, yeah. Daily.
Where are stream updates posted at, schedule changes and whatnot?
Whenever there's a variation, now on our Twitch channel page, there's the video players there, and if you're on a desktop computer, when you scroll down below the video player, you'll see information on what we're doing here. And anytime there's a variation from that, what I do is I do it as in graphic form. I make an update to the channel image, the one that shows my hand brushing the pigment on the wood there.
Right.
And I put an update embedded into that image.
Yeah.
It seems to be the only place that all other people see it when they come to the channel. That's what I did the other day. I got the information wrong, but that's where I put it. So.
Yeah. People saying, "Oh, you have a Twitter?" No, we don't have a Twitter.
I don't.
No interest in Twitter.
I have nothing to say in 100 words or whatever.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? You know?
Yeah. Says there. I noticed there's no metal band on the large Marunomi. Is it a special tool?
No, I took them off. Both of these. They had metal bands. I ripped them off and threw them away. Too noisy.
Huh.
Too noisy.
With the hammer hitting it?
Yep, exactly. This one's okay. It's got enough wood. The wood is peened over, whatever, so I'm hitting mostly wood. These ones were different, and I found out I was hitting the ring, so I just threw it away. It's just noisy. It doesn't do anything, you know. So I'm not hitting things so hard that it's going to destruct and smash this wood.
Right.
With this print, this chisel, the small one, you can see I'm just tap 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 tap. So no way. I just don't want that noise.
Yeah. Makes sense. I'm sure all of you with headphones on appreciate that.
Over on the fan page, there's been a number of people who've been playing with these larger chisels for the first time.
Oh, fun.
Up to now, they've been using, cutting knives and small chisels.
Yeah.
And some people are starting to realize that, boy, oh boy, you really save a whole lot of time.
Oh, yeah. You can clear a lot more space.
Yeah, quickly. And it's not a question of time is money, because these people are, probably not selling their prints, but it's just a question of how much time you spend doing the job. And bigger chisels really, really, really help get some things going. It's also a chance for a major screw up if
because you can clear big chunks of what you want to clear, but you can also clear big chunks of what you don't.
Yeah, exactly. We all, it's a stage we all go through. How close can I go to that line? That's okay. Oops, and away we go. So
there goes the whole section I wanted to.
key part to it is making sure you got a good visible distinction. You can see these. It's yellow and white, yellow and white, yellow and white.
Yeah.
Where it gets a little dicey is there's a little one down there I got to keep, little one here, and they are not so visible.
Yeah.
And this is a part of the reason too why we do that corner popping thing, so that those places become visible and you can see them when you're at this stage.
Got it.
But there's no answer. Everybody has to go through their own training, Oops, and then next time be a bit more careful.
Yeah.
So.
Chamomile Conman asks one of our favorite questions. What do you do when that happens? When you remove a chunk of what you don't want to remove? Is there a way to salvage the block? Or you start over? Usually, I think we have about that. Is it repair? Let's see. The repair process. Oh, yes, it works. Cool. Often cut out a chunk or a square or whatever shape you need, and then get a new piece and fill it in, and then recut that section. And be careful this time.
But people doing original prints, the easier answer would be just adapt your design, just fool around the design. I can't do that because Jed's the designer, and I can't just chop out pieces of wood and say, "Oh, Jed, I missed this. Sorry, let's redraw your design."
Yeah.
But if you're doing original work, you have lots more flexibility, of course. This is a picky finicky one. So.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. I said I wasn't sure if the repair explanation there applied to big goofs too. So thank you. You can do
that one on that
many
sample is a
different
pretty big
sizes,
goofy. I forgot. I didn't chop it away by accident. I just forgot to copy it in yellow, so it didn't get included. So there was a big piece missing that should have been there.
Yeah.
So I put a bigger piece inside.
Yeah.
So the bigger goofs are easy.
Mm-hmm.
What's difficult is when you've just missed a little, like for example, if I was going to miss this little piece here, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a tougher one because it's such a little tiny piece. So
Yeah.
the only solution is you cut a bigger hole, pop a piece in, and come back.
Yeah.
So big ones are not a problem.
Yeah. Cal Carlisle asks, I realize you're carving now, but I was wondering, how do you clean your brushes when you're done printing for the day?
That's a really interesting question, and you ask 6 guys and you're going to get 7 different answers. No, really, without being sarcastic, because recently we've run across a question about this. How should we clean our brushes here?
Yeah.
And I have a certain way of doing it, and Sugu-san, who came from Kobuda-san's workshop, has a diametrically opposed way of doing it. And I'm like, I don't think we should be doing that. And she respects Kobuda-san a lot more than she respects me, and she says, I think we should be doing it this way. So, a long story short, I don't know, long story long, and there's no way to make it short. In general, we keep our brushes in families. This brush or this brush or this brush gets used for red or brown or whatever. Mm-hmm. It won't be used for yellow or something like this. So we don't have to wash it 100%. It can have a bit of pigment left in it. Doesn't really matter because it's not going to leak over into something that'll make it.
You're not going to turn your yellow brown or something.
So we've got a red group, a blue group, a green group, a yellow group, and the blacks always just stay for black. There are people in town, Numabe-san is one and Kobuda-san is another, who don't do that. They just have a bunch of brushes on the shelf, large, medium, soft, long hair, short hair, thick hair, dense hair, and they don't even care what color it is. Because after using it, they wash it to the infinite point where all of the pigment has come out. So they don't have brushes grouped by color, they just have brushes grouped by style and as I said, hair length and whatever, and softness and whatever like that. So we don't wash them as thoroughly as some of those people do. And the other question about it, I should have one here. There's really 2 schools of thought about whether you allow the wooden part to get wet or not, or whether this should be varnished or not. And this is morphing over the years because the new brushes we get these days are made of crap, double CRAP wood that splits if you go. And if you have it dry at the top and moist at the bottom, they just split like crazy. So in all my earlier days, the way I was doing it, because I had a bunch of brushes that were not so bad, that were made out of reasonable wood, my policy was I never got the wood wet.
Yeah.
I would wash my brushes under a tap where the water came down and cascaded away, and I rub it and I rub it and I soap it and I rub it under it, rotating it so that the water always fell away from the wooden handle.
Yeah.
I would keep going till I've got, as I said, most of the color out, though I didn't go to the end because I was using the same brush again for the same color.
Right.
When I was over at Kubota-san's place preparing for the recent video that we put up, that color separation work on the snake print, he went through a lot of brushes there. We didn't really see it all in the video because sometimes he'd put a bit of blue and test it and it was a bit too much green in, so he'd go back to the tile, which we saw.
Yeah.
But that brush now has the wrong, because he just tossed it aside and grabbed another brush.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to go back to the sink and wash it for every little tiny variation he made in the testing.
Oh, okay.
So when you're testing prints, you need to have a whole bunch of brushes side by side, or
Yeah.
you're going back to your sink and washing them every time you put a tiny bit too much green in something.
Hmm.
So by the end of that day, he had used, 30 brushes or so. And during the day, what he had done is he had literally tossed them in a bowl of a dishwashing bowl in the sink. They were submerged. They were floating. There was these 30 brushes floating in this
Soapy water.
And the colors had bleeded out and were mixing, whatever.
Yeah.
And when we came back after lunch at the end of the day, we sat there, I watched him do this. So he submerges his brushes. He doesn't care, but he soaps and shakes and soaps and washes and shakes till every last bit of pigment is gone. And then they went on the rack for drying and back in. And very few of his brushes are split. And he says they aren't split because he's doing this. The brush gets wet and soaked all over. The splitting problem is when something is dry on one side and moist on the other side. That causes a piece of wood to split.
Huh. So uneven drying, essentially.
It's uneven moisture in a single piece of wood. Because we use them all day long, moisture seeps out from the bottom. So the bottom side of these pieces of wood is constantly moistened while we're using them.
Yeah.
So my theory that I keep the top dry, he says that only works when you've got this magic perfect piece of wood that is not going to split. Like this is Kintaro. He died before I came to Japan.
Yeah.
So this one is okay. It hasn't split because it's made of a piece of wood that's done by a real proper craftsman. This is blank, it's unvarnished, and I've been using it the way I do it, and we're okay. But with the modern ones now, with crap, double crap, triple crap pieces of wood, perhaps it's better that Kubota-san's way is better. They're soaked constantly. That keeps them full and swelled, and there's less chance of them to split.
Huh.
So Suga-san's trying to get me to switch over. Convert. And she I don't interfere with her. She washes her brushes her own way, and I don't interfere with them. We're not so stupid about that. So the question is, how do I wash my brushes?
However you want.
But ask 6 people to get 6 different answers. And John Amos, I think he's posting on his own blog about this. He's got some good Kintaro brushes that he scored from Yahoo Auctions here.
Yeah.
He scooped it out from under my nose. I didn't notice it that day. And he got these bunch of good brushes.
Oh, yeah.
And what he's been doing, even the ones that weren't lacquered, I think he's been varnishing them or spraying them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the water doesn't go so much into the handle. And I mean to ask him one day, John, have you varnished this lower surface?
Yeah.
Because that means taking it apart, taking a hair out. I mean, that's not something you can do by yourself easily. So, because that's where the water goes in, the bottom. So yeah, lots of thoughts about brushes. The situation is morphing over the years because the wood quality has been degraded.
Yeah.
I have no easy answer to it, and I myself, as I said, I'm in the middle of how should we do this? I'm not sure, not sure.
Everyone's got different ideas about it.
Where was I? I don't remember. It doesn't much matter, does it?
That's funny. They're having a debate about whether Mokuhan Kan should start using Twitter or not.
It's up to you for you, but I am not. If you're going to use Twitter, do it with your own name. Don't do it from Dave. Make sure it's clear the voice is Cameron.
Yeah.
I don't care, but I am not going to do it. I just don't like the instantaneous and the pressure to be funny and What are we going to use it for? Hi, we have a new print up. Come to the website.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Twitter makes sense as a literary thing, but it doesn't make sense as a promotion. Here we are. Look at us promote buy our stuff. I despise that. So
Yeah, I think a person's saying use Twitter to let people know no stream on Sunday and Monday, so don't waste their time coming on Twitch. But you're wasting your time on Twitter. So
whatever. No, that's a legitimate thing. So it's a notification thing. So that would be a legitimate thing. I think. Yes. So. And in fact, actually, we did. I have 2 Twitter accounts.
Whoa,
which just a minute. Now, it's exactly when we had the woodblock webcam. This is back in OMA.
Yeah.
And what I did, I wrote a bit of software that when I turned the webcam on, it posted to the Twitter. And it was Twitter, it was webcam on was one account, and webcam off was another account. Not the same account. If you think through it, nobody needs the webcam off notices because they're
already watching.
It's redundant, or they're watching, or if they're not watching, they certainly don't need to know that the woodblock webcam just went off.
Yeah.
So because my software was either posting or not posting, I put them onto 2 accounts. So when the software started the stream, it wasn't a stream, it was webcam.
Yeah.
It posted, and it only had 1 message. Now we've gone live.
Yeah. Okay.
But then we shut down that webcam. Ustream changed the policies. They wanted a ton of money for it. I had to say no. And that was before Twitch, of course.
Yeah.
Then we moved to Asakusa and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you want to investigate that and look at this as a single usage thing, Twitch...
Take a look.
I don't know. Twitch does that, right? They notify people. If you're, don't they get an email saying Japanese printmaking has gone live or something?
I think most people, or I don't know about most people. I turned off email notifications for every service I ever use because I get too many emails anyway. But I don't know about how other people use it.
Well, then would you want the Twitter notifications?
Nope. but I know I'm not the... I'm here in the morning anyway, so I don't know if that matters. But...
Do you have a Twitter account yourself?
No.
Can I ask, like, why? Or
I...
Just not interested?
Yeah, just not interested, I guess. I'm too long-winded. If I'm going to say anything, it ends up being much longer than the... I think it's recently increased the number of characters.
For me to remember, I have no smartphone. I don't have that all day in contact wanting to hear those notifications.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah. Cal Carlisle says, great explanation, Dave, so he's grateful for that. I've gone crazy with cracking, trying to keep the top dry. I'm going to try the submersion method and see what happens. So, give it a shot.
So, I mean, I'm not... we're all struggling with this new... the new quality level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody was here yesterday. We were closed yesterday, but there were visitors all over the place yesterday. We got nothing done. Well, one of the visitors, we were upstairs. There was the Israeli papermaker and the woman who was with him.
Oh, right.
We were upstairs looking in the printing room, and the woman pointed Ishikawa-san's bench, and there's a print on top of Ishikawa-san's bench of 2 dogs. It's Mr. Carlisle's print. He sent it here as a thank you note. I was showing it to Ishikawa-san. She said, I'm taking this.
I love this.
I love this. So it's now on display above Ishikawa-san's bench. He's nuts about dogs. And the woman yesterday said, I know that. That's Cal Carlisle's 2018 dog print, And I'm like, oh, you're a friend of his? Whatever. She said, so she got it somewhere, I guess.
Yeah.
He's in an exchange. Or
she told me they're friends. They know each other somehow.
I don't know her name. I don't even know who she was. It was just in the middle of all the visitors yesterday.
Yeah.
So Cal's now asking, who was she? I don't know.
She gave me her Meishi, what is that, business card. I've got it upstairs, so I could find her name if you're interested. Even just a first name, so I'm not announcing this.
She had a business in America, but she lives partway in Japan.
I think her husband's Japanese, and so they go back and forth, something like that.
I didn't. I mean, she wasn't the main guest. She was with the main guest, so I didn't have a chance to actually speak too much to her. But But she saw that and her face lit up. I've got that print. I think Cal, I think he said he plans on coming. Was it October or something? He's going to be around. So.
Cool.
So he'll see it there, sitting there. If it hasn't been replaced by some other dog print before.
Yeah. Huh. Tutilis, I'm guessing on pronunciations here, says, when wooden brushes tend to split because of the moisture, would brushes with, for example, a plastic handle last longer? It's not traditional, but perhaps more durable. Any thoughts on
seems if we're having such a huge problem with this, then yeah, it might make sense to switch to plastic.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
Try those out. Okay.
There are many other factors to consider. The weight and the feel and the balance are important.
Yeah.
So it's not just the material.
Yeah.
And maybe the plastic might be slippery, difficult to hold. There's not. I'm not saying no, don't do it. But there are many things to consider if somebody's going to try
It's
this.
not just whether it splits or not and when.
But yeah.
Cool. Oh, Carla said she told me she's already visited him, or she's already talked to him. So
Yesterday then?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
Cool. So they must be friends. That's good. Said I'll be there in October. You were the first thing I added to my Google Map when I booked the tickets. Look forward to meeting you. So. See you then.
There was another one too. When we posted that print, the print I showed, a half an hour ago about this one. When I posted this to the Facebook page the other day, there was a comment like a few minutes later. It says, "That's it. I want one. I'm booking my ticket to Tokyo
Yes.
right now." Did you read that?
I saw that.
I wasn't quite sure. You never know these days now if these are actually
Can
serious
you really?
or I don't know.
You can order it online, but come on over. Thanks, Jolly Green Titan, for posting the comments at the bottom of the Twitch page about affiliate and partner with Twitch, because you've written some things about it and people were asking about it again, so he's just reshared what you've said before.
About what were we talking about?
About being an affiliate or a partner with Twitch to get funding through it.
So. We got, they sent an email.
Again?
No, that we're partner status. We're allowed.
Okay.
Before it was affiliate, we got the email saying, you can now be an affiliate. And the latest one said, that's it. You have achieved whatever. We've unlocked the goal or whatever it is to be able to be partner.
Okay.
Bit noisier now, sorry.
It says, instead, support the process. Buy some prints. Yep.
Well, or not, or just enjoy watching it. It's okay.
Or just enjoy watching.
Enjoy
Yep.
watching. We're not. This is not a sales venture here on Twitter. We just want to share our work. So don't feel any obligation that you have to do this. Just enjoy whatever.
Yeah.
We're doing okay.
Yeah. Are you in charge of the parties this morning?
There's no party at 10, and we're lucky. There isn't one this morning. They're starting to taper off. There's 2 this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
But we've got full competent staff. It's Shiba-san and Audrey and Dei-chan. So they are going to take it this afternoon.
Yeah,
I am going to go downstairs. But there's guests. I know Jacques is coming from Holland. I know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's here today or tomorrow, or both. I don't know.
Cool.
And I have tours. I have two minds. I'd like to spend time with him, but also I've got to get downstairs. So I think I bought a box of paintbrushes and
And so join me.
I don't know whatever I can do. So. Then, as I mentioned, the young man from Latvia, he'll be here today. He wants to help downstairs. So.
Oh, cool. That's good. Did he come by yesterday?
Yeah, he came by last night.
Okay.
We went for dinner. He left at 11 o'clock.
Oh, no.
He's a real nice guy.
Yeah.
Really, really
Late
nice.
night.
And boy, interesting ideas. I know, lots to talk about.
Cool.
And he certainly needs a bit of companionship at the moment.
Yeah.
So very important. So we just spent some time together.
Good.
Trying to decide if the world will come to an end in a few years or a few decades.
Yeah. Korin Gami. Thank you. Yes, we did get the email about Photoshop. We just have been inundated with other things, but thank you
So
for that.
it's,
We'll contact you when
where,
we
no, where we
when
stand
get
on it
to
right now, one of our staff girls, Nakamura-san,
Yeah.
is mocking up for me something like this. She's actually found a couple of images from a commercial place, commercial images, and she's asking me, should we buy this one? So it's the decision's happening next Monday on whether we're going to go with the plan that she has prepared for me, buying that image and buying that image. And she's pushing in a way that I don't want to go. We talked about it. She wants to make an illustration.
Right.
And I don't. I want to photograph. I want this thing to look as realistic as possible. So we're still, she said, okay, I'll try and find a better picture, blah, 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 blah. So she's quite confident. So I don't want to mislead somebody else here. She's a fairly competent graphic designer working, professionally at this.
Oh, yeah.
So we do have, a bit of this kind of skill. If she doesn't really come up with something that I want to put my seal of approval on, then maybe we'll be looking for. She might say, okay, all right. Well, if that's the case, then do it yourself. Go ahead.
Then do it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's under progress. It's under design. We're working on the design, and I'll just. His name is there standing by if we need a bit more outside help.
Cool.
So thank you.
Yep. Yeah, he said, no problem. I just fear the spam folder. So do we.
No. Okay, we
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Thanks for checking up. Sorry I didn't say.
Also,
thank
I know for the first time the other day, was it last night maybe or something? I had been looking at the streams when I wasn't here the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at the stream, looking at the chat,
you. The chat, yeah.
trying to see, make apologies for it. And the Korean person here posted about his website,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I went to look at it. And there's some wonderful, interesting things over there. The photography and the origami creations. And
Yeah.
I had no idea about this. So you could encourage him. Please let other people know. Or put his website link in
feel
here
free
today.
to share it.
Or you can post it, whatever. I don't know.
If I can
It
find
was
it again.
really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And also, I was interesting to hear that this name, this handle, Koreangami, actually had meaning at every level. It was, the origami thing mixed in, and the Ogata Korean part mixed in. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just some random name. So,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Cool to explore the website.
People are, of course, understandably hesitant to toot their own horn and promote their own stuff here, which I
Right.
understand. And thank you very much for the hesitation. But let's people see what's going on here.
Yeah. Some cool stuff.
It was really, really cool stuff there. The photography is very interesting. And when you see those photographs, the immediate thing that comes to mind is get over here to Japan, because there's some pretty cool
Stuff to take pictures
of that is in line with that kind of the ethic and the
Yeah.
mood of those photographs.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Jay Sizmar, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but says
CIZMAR?
yes.
A long time supporter. And,
Oh, cool.
So.
Well, great. He says it's a delight to watch the process. The process was so opaque a couple of years ago. It was a pain to research back in grad school. Dave's doing a great service, so much appreciated. So
And he's very much supported our work over a long period of time. Thank you very much, sir.
yeah.
I hear rattling. Somebody's trying to get in downstairs. It's either
okay,
it
I'll
might
be right back.
It might be
The new friend.
Yes, yeah. Oh, we're there. Okay. I detect a bit of low battery in that sound too. It is. Whoa, here we go. Battery charge time.
I'm so tired. It's the day. Daytime. Yeah.
It's become one of our trademarks, I think. Whatever. Yeah, they left the door open, have they?
I just did,
Okay,
yeah, for her,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
She's here. That battery is pretty sad.
Hello, Chang. Good morning. How are you doing? Are you okay? Are you healthy?
The bell sounds so depressed or drunk.
Do I have to work again today?
So tired.
How you doing, ma'am? You okay? Pinky?
Yeah.
Morning. How are you? Great.
They're all here. They're all here. Get around. Good. Say hello to the Twitch stream, you guys. They hear about your voice coming in. Say hello to the Twitch stream.
Come on over.
Hang on, let me get with my shoes. Which one am I looking?
This camera.
I don't know what my face is.
Keep going. Oh, there.
Oh, morning.
This is Audrey Sam, so
Come
one
on,
of the
come
party
on.
hosts today. So
Yeah.
Hello.
I know the paper calendar is not up to date. A new reservation came in during the night. So,
Okay, we
But-
do that.
Please check that. Yeah.
but if that they're going to wake up that computer. So this is but we'll see. What's
See
our
what
status? Is this status here?
It's all looking totally normal. Nothing dropped.
Okay. Well,
Live for an
they're
hour
going to wake up
22.
that one now to
Watch how
to
bad it
update.
gets.
So,
Some serious chiseling going on today. So that bell is so sad.
is it becoming a meme? Is it?
Maybe.
The other third member of the crew coming today, Shiba-san, and I hope she's bringing with her.
Yeah.
I hope some more.
Oh yeah,
friends.
she said she is. I
She
talked
is,
to her
good.
yesterday on the phone.
Because we are out.
Again.
We are out.
Yeah. Aeromass says, in one of the hospitals I work at, we have a depressed elevator. When the elevator's going up, a cheery female voice says, going up. And when it's going down, the same voice says, going down.
Program. Shiba-san, did you bring Prince? Did you bring Prince?
Woo!
Oh, okay. もう out. オンラインも out. お店も out.
最高です。
そうだからオンラインはちょっと一回ストップしてくださいね。
はい。OK。
夜鍋して吸ったんですか？
夜鍋はしなかったけ
あ、
ど
本当です。
でも3日で吸って
嘘。
いつも20枚は3日なんですけど40枚は3日で
つぐさん、
はいはい。
紙出したんですが、
はいはい。
黄色い丸2点あったんですが、
一
な
個一個。
のでも丸ポッポッ2つ。
嘘。
だから2つ見つからなかった。だから1つ。
一つでいいの。
OK、いいよ。でも、時さん、どうする怖い、どうする
ごめんありがとうござ
I
います。
think you're just trying to bring stress to my life, I think. That's the way to pay back Dave for when he forgets.
Stress him out.
She puts 2 buttons on the fridge, which means I have to bring 2 packages
Oh,
out.
yeah.
But I can only find 1. So I spent like minutes. If I forget, I'm on,
On the guillotine next.
So I think she might have done that on purpose to pay me back for what I forgot the other day.
2. The one that you forgot last time, and the real one I needed again. I don't know what. Oh, JC Smar says again, ran into Jed at Chicago C2E2. Really like the G-Clay prints on the Japanese paper. Great choice.
Cool.
I'm glad you ran into him.
She's very proud of those. So
Yeah.
a tiny bit of problem for us is sometimes they're so good that people think they're actually woodblock prints. We get this all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's okay. But,
Yeah.
make a quality product, and there you go. So am I supposed to be moving on here soon, Cameron? So what time is it?
26.
Okay, so I should just finish off this wide clearing on this. There's no
Yeah.
time to obviously do the rest of it. So tomorrow we'll be picking up with the clearing on this block. So I should finish off the wide chisel now, get rid of the noise,
Yeah.
so I can come back quietly tomorrow. Okay.
Sounds good.
Also, there was a party reservation. Might that have been for 10 o'clock this morning? Because if it was, we got to get going.
Okay. No, it's for the 23rd.
Okay.
Yes. Good question. Aeromath says, I'm a little confused on timeline. I know you and Jed collaborated on the Heroes prints, but there are a lot more Heroes prints than what you have made. What am I missing? So Jed has just designed a lot more, and due to, I don't know, lots of different things. You can't
Well, we
make
can't-
woodblock prints out of every single one of
of
them.
course,
Some
it's
have
impossible.
a million colors in them, or some just don't have enough time to carve them all.
Sure, I mean, he
So-
can do a design and run it up in Photoshop and Giclate overnight and get it into his calendar.
Right.
It's months of work for us, and we just don't have the resources to turn all of his designs into woodblock prints.
Right.
Nor do I myself particularly like all of them. Whatever. He and I go back and forth. So he and I select which ones either are good enough or have the resources or might be popular in the market. We
Yeah.
think, a bunch of factors come into play. So there's many more Giclates than there are woodblock prints, and
Yep.
it will always be that way. So, especially his large ones. He's got these big triptychs,
Oh, yeah.
and there's no way. I just don't have the resources to be able to make those. It's just not possible. So there are now, and always will be, many more designs available from him in photomechanical form than in woodblock print form. So.
But Rylock99 has a good point. There are many more heroes' portraits in woodblock form that aren't available in Giclase because
I
there's two
publish those.
subscriptions.
It's, it's different system. The main heroes,
Right.
Jed owns the IP. Jed's the publisher.
Right, right.
We don't even have them online. That's Jed's business. So
Yeah.
the main ukiyo-e heroes, the ones that started on Kickstarter in 2012,
Yep.
they're Jed's IP. Jed is the publisher. We are the factory.
Right.
He sends the designs over here. We make the prints, and he buys them from us at a wholesale rate.
Yeah.
The subscription prints are different. I'm the publisher. We create the concept, we create the prints, we make them, we sell them, we do everything, and we hire Jed to design, and we pay him a royalty.
Yeah.
So it's the other way around. It's
Yeah.
backwards.
Still, they're similar in theme, though.
Yeah, the people out there don't know the difference. Of course,
Yeah.
it's the same concept. So.
Right. So in that way.
And we have no intention of making, Jink Jet versions of those. That's
Right.
not what we do.
No,
so.
yeah.
So I'm sorry for the confusion, but it actually all does make sense.
Yeah.
And to extend it, he's now doing more series. The Neo Tokyo thing he's building that with a different manufacturer, with William,
Yeah.
William Francis. And we weren't able, of course, he and I talked about it for a long time, for actually a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And because there's so much Heroes work, we just don't have the resources to start up a whole new series from Jed. It was very frustrating for him because he wanted to make these things,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it. I like the designs. It would be interesting to do, a huge challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm not able to do it and keep going with the Heroes prints,
Yeah.
which we're still printing.
And the subscriptions and the
So,
patrons and
I mean,
everything
it's still
else.
going. Sugi-san just turned these into me. Here we are, another 60 miles. Just this stuff alone is still keeping us up to our neck. And we didn't have the resources to be able to start Neo Tokyo.
Yeah.
So Jed finally, after years of asking me to work on this, I can't say he got frustrated, but he found Plan B because William came along.
Yeah.
So Jed and William have tied up to do.
Yeah.
So it's Jed's property, it's Jed's copyright, it's Jed's the publisher, and he's using a different factory, Williams' place,
Yep.
to make those. So how it's going to go, it's up to them.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult. Jed himself has evolved, so he is now making some very, very difficult, complex designs.
Yeah.
William is a young carver printer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jetson, and Cameron, I've got to get out of here. I think
it's
let's
time.
wrap this up.
Okay.
If you can say the right words, and apologize to the gang for my irregular schedule the last few days. I believe
Back
things
in
should be back to
business.
normal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be here tomorrow. The woodblock will be sitting right there. Let's leave the same sawdust on it. Whatever.
Okay.
I'll pick this
We
up.
will.
Same time, same place.
See you
Tomorrow morning.
tomorrow. Okay. Have a good one. Hot mic and turning off right now.